A single father feeds a homeless woman. Weeks
Here,
later,
have a
her
bite.
lawyers show up at his door, complete emotional A cold Chicago
It's going to
morning.
be okay.
Slow, emotional tone. It was a cold morning in Chicago. Dark clouds covered the sky, and a thin layer of frost blanketed the streets. People were rushing down the sidewalks, clutching warm coffee cups in their hands, collars pulled up against the wind, chasing their busy lives and dreams. No one cared about anyone else. No one had the time, no one had the attention. Slight pause among all these people was a quiet man, whose name was Daniel Miller. This 35-year-old man was an ordinary person, but his eyes carried a deep exhaustion. The kind of tiredness that wasn't just physical, but reached deep into the soul. Daniel's story, soft and painful tone. Daniel was a single father. His entire world was his 7-year-old daughter, Emily, a small, innocent girl, whose smile still carried glimpses of her mother 3 years ago on a rainy night. Emily's mother, Sarah, died in a terrible car accident. After that day, only two things remained in Daniel's life: grief and responsibility. He worked in a small warehouse. All day lifting heavy boxes, loading goods into trucks, covered in sweat and dirt. The pay was low, the work was hard, but he never complained. Because he had Emily. And for Emily, he could do anything. The daily struggle, detailed, realistic tone. Every morning Daniel's routine was the same. Wake up at 5 a.m., prepare Emily's lunchbox, brush her hair. Even though he couldn't do it as well as her mother did, he tried his best. Then drop her at school and rush to the warehouse himself. Evening return, with an exhausted body and aching hands. But the moment he saw Emily, his tiredness would vanish. Emotional rise, Emily was his light, his last hope. He always thought, if I give up, what will happen to Emily? That thought kept him alive. Morning routine, and small happiness, positive tone. Every morning, before dropping Emily at school, Daniel would pick up breakfast from a small diner, Rosie's Corner Cafe, a very simple place where the smell of coffee and fresh bread filled the air. He ordered the same thing every day: 2 egg sandwiches and 1 bottle of milk. One for Emily, one for himself. They would both sit in the car and eat together, and Emily would tell him stories about school. This was their little moment, just the two of them. And for Daniel, this moment was greater than any happiness in the world. The day everything changed, suspenseful tone. It was a Thursday morning, a completely ordinary morning in every way. Until Daniel's eyes fell upon a woman sitting near the bus stop. An elderly homeless woman, perhaps 60 years old, wrapped in a torn brown coat, hands trembling from the cold, and clear signs of hunger on her face. People were passing by her as if she didn't even exist. No one even looked at her. Emotional drop, Daniel kept watching the scene. Something twisted inside him. He thought, isn't she someone's mother, someone's sister, someone's daughter? The voice of an innocent heart, soft like a child's voice. Suddenly, Emily tugged at her father's sleeve. "Daddy." There was concern in her voice. "That lady looks very hungry." Daniel looked at the bag in his hand. 2 sandwiches, one for Emily, one for himself. Internal struggle tone, he paused for a few moments. He thought, if I give away my sandwich, I'll be hungry until noon, but... Pause. This woman probably hasn't eaten since yesterday. He made his decision. A small act of humanity, soft and respectful tone. Daniel got out of the car, held Emily's hand, and both of them walked toward the woman. The woman was sitting on the ground, hugging her knees to her chest, trying to protect herself from the cold wind. Daniel knelt down and said gently, "Ma'am, please have this." The woman was startled. She slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were dim and tired. Defensive tone. "I'm not begging," she said softly. Gentle smile and voice. Daniel smiled. "This isn't charity, ma'am. It's breakfast." Pause. Emotional peak. Tears welled up in the woman's eyes. With trembling hands, she took the sandwich and stared at it as if it were a precious gift. Then, as she was leaving, she placed her hand on Emily's head and said, "God protect you both." Daniel had no idea at that moment that this small act was about to change his entire life. Silent weeks, slow, reflective tone. A few weeks passed. The woman never appeared again. Daniel tried to look for her once or twice, but she had disappeared. Life returned to its old rhythm: work, bills, exhaustion, and silent nights. Daniel never gave that incident much importance. For him, it was just the right thing to do. How could he know that his small act of kindness was being written into a will somewhere far away? The knock at the door, suspenseful, slow build-up. One Tuesday evening, Daniel came home exhausted. His back was aching, and his hands were swollen. Emily was sitting at the table doing homework. Everything was quiet. Pause. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Loud, clear. Daniel looked at Emily, then at the door. He walked to the door, and when he opened it, pause for effect, 2 men in suits stood before him. One older, with white hair, the other younger, with a serious face. Formal tone. Mimic lawyer. Are you Daniel Miller? Yes. What's this about? Fear crept into Daniel's voice. We're attorneys. We need to speak with you urgently. Dramatic pause. Daniel's heart started racing. He thought, do I have some debt? Is there a lawsuit? Did I do something wrong? The shocking truth, slow reveal, emotional tone. Both lawyers entered. One opened a file. Mr. Miller, do you remember giving food to a homeless woman a few weeks ago? Daniel nodded slowly. Yes, I remember. Pause. That woman was Margaret Whitmore. Daniel looked confused. Margaret Whitmore? The name didn't connect with anything in his mind. Strong, formal voice. She was one of Illinois' most successful real estate investors. Pause. And she was worth millions. Daniel felt dizzy. He grabbed the back of a chair for support. Millions? The real story, soft, sad tone. The lawyer took a deep breath. Mr. Miller, Margaret Whitmore was in the final stages of cancer. She knew she didn't have much time left, but she spent the last days of her life conducting an experiment. Daniel listened with bated breath. She deliberately hid her identity, she hid her wealth, and wandered the streets to see how much humanity was left in this world. Emotional crack, tears came to Daniel's eyes. She saw that people turned their faces away when they saw her. Children pointed fingers. People crossed the street to avoid her. Only you treated her like a human being. The unbelievable reward, slow, careful delivery. The lawyer pulled out a white envelope. 2 days before her death, she wrote a will. Pause. And in that will, she left a large portion of her estate to one person. Daniel's breath stopped. The lawyer looked directly at him. To you, Mr. Miller. Complete silence. Let it sink in. Emily stepped forward and tightly held her father's hand. Daddy, are you okay? Daniel slowly looked at his daughter, then at the lawyer. I don't understand. Lawyer's voice. With respect, Mr. Miller, from Margaret Whitmore's estate, a house, a trust fund for your daughter's education, and $300,000 in cash have been left in your name. The real message, deeply emotional. Tears streamed down Daniel's face. His hands were shaking. I didn't help her for money, The lawyer nodded. We know, Mr. Miller. That's why she chose you. Pause. Letter reading tone. She wrote in her will. I've met thousands of people in my life. Rich, poor, powerful, weak. But I only met one person like Daniel Miller who helps. Without any greed, without any expectation, simply because it's right. People like him keep this world alive. The peace of night, reflective, peaceful tone. That night, when Daniel put Emily to bed, she asked, Daddy, are we rich now? Daniel smiled. No, sweetheart. We were already rich. We had love. We had each other. This money is just a reward for being good people. Final message, strong, inspiring, close, sometimes a simple meal. A small act of compassion can change someone's entire destiny. But the real change is this. You see someone when everyone else ignores them. You stop when everyone else passes by. You give when you yourself have little. Powerful pause, so next time you see someone in need, don't hesitate. Who knows, you might be changing someone's life. Or perhaps, soft ending, your own life might change.